beyond my words. So, first of all, I like to acknowledge your presence, and also I like to acknowledge the presence of all the dignitaries, all the heads who have joined us in this session. Also, I'd like to greet all the students who are watching us from all corners of the world. It's my pleasure to have this session with all of you, and I'm pretty sure that you all will be learning a lot of things from this particular session because we have a man as great as Sandeep Shastri here. Before I give the platform to Shastri for his key address, I'd like to read a little bit about his work that he has done over the years. Taking forward the illustrious political legacy of his grandfather, former Prime Minister of India, Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri, Sandeep Shastri has also ventured into the world of politics by joining the Bharatiya Janata Party. Charismatic, versatile, and armed with tremendous sense of responsibility, renewed sense of rigor, and Sandeep a high degree of flexibility, resourcefulness, and commitment to work, and thrives on challenges that to walk tightrope. Owing to his warm personality and exceptional communication and interpersonal skills, he enjoys huge mass appeal whether he is walking with the people or leading them. Samir Shastri, Indian youth icon, institution builder, a leader whose words and work in the field of public service are inspiring a generation. Samir, Chairman of the Indian Institute of Governance and Leadership and the President of Confederation of Young Leaders. Confederation of Young Leaders has been a pioneer in organizing national and international congresses and conventions on leadership and governance. The Confederation has implemented many programs at the global level for making the world citizen aware regarding the need for employment-centric choice-based life skills and developmental courses. In this connection, many youth dialogues have been conducted by the Confederation in collaboration with China, Norway, Serbia, Bolivia, Venezuela, and many other countries. Sameep is a columnist for several reputed journals, dailies, and magazines, acknowledging his efforts towards Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and other initiatives by our Honorable Prime Minister. Many union ministers of Government of India and other prominent organizations have recommended and acknowledged his efforts. I believe, sir, your profile is very long for me to even describe in few minutes. So I like to request all the other people to kindly understand what sort of a personality Mr. Sameep is during this course of conversation. Mr. Sameep, sir, off to you for your key address.
Good morning, everyone, at lovely Professional University. It's my pleasure to be hosted for the Business Conclave 2020, hosted by Spasmodic Student Organization of LPU. So, personally, I will start off with a story that, being from a family legacy of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, it was always a lot of pressure for us to come and work and enter politics, and a lot of people wanted us because of his values and ethics and honesty that the family members should join in with a similar kind of thought process. My journey started off with becoming the president of the Indian Association while I was studying abroad, and I realized how important it is to empower the youth. And that's how my journey and thought process started for youth empowerment and institution building. And there was a huge gap in the over a decade that we have tried to cover in my programs and initiatives, where we have tried to build a platform so that the young leaders and the students could actually interact and have a networking platform. So that's how my journey started. And today, when I actually look back and I see that how important, so as a youngster, you feel there are shortcuts to success, and that is actually a myth. To be very honest, anything that you achieve or you want to achieve, there's a lot of hard work behind it. Whether it is simply organizing an event, or whether it is making a business, or whether it is working for your dreams, you have to put in a lot of efforts, and you have to put hard work, and you have to have the result. There's no shortcut to success. But what you can do, and what this generation is benefited, is with the medium of social media and connectivity. You can connect with the right kind of people and get the advice. And this is what was missing earlier, and now it is available. And I would request all the people who are listening to me that kindly connect with the kind of leader you want to get associated with, and take advice. People are open minded. It's just that you need to approach them. And there's that particular hesitance that we all have, which has to be removed to achieve success and goals for the future. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful keynote address. I'd like to now request all the participants who are watching this live session right now to kindly make sure that during this conversation where we are going to ask certain questions to Mr. Sandeep, sir, kindly make sure that you are also questioning, you're also asking the questions in the comment section, because that will also help us have a more natural and candid conversation. So first of all, I'd like to also congratulate Spasmodic Group for bringing in Mr. Sameep sir to this giant platform. We congratulate them for the introduction of e-business conclave 2020 during these times of pandemic. But I think it's a commendable job done by them, and we are looking forward to have more and more enthusiastic conversations live out here in this particular conclave. But since we have Mr. Sameep sir himself out here, I think the first question that anybody would ask is his leadership skills. How do you come up with the leadership skills? What do you, I mean, like you belong to a family which is known for strong leadership. What were the challenges that you had as a kid to, present yourself as that leader, as that young, fierce politician?
I think for a leader, I think challenges never get over. Personally, whether you are from a legacy, whether you're from a political background, or whether you're the first generation doing your leadership struggle never ever ends. The key important point of a leader is to be a good listener, to empathize with the person who's telling you those advice, and to understand the current scenario and the requirement of the leadership. It is very, very important to be a part of the problem to actually solve it and to become a leader and come out of it. So a problem recognition is very important for a leader, and it is very important to keep open ears. And as I come from a background where politically we are very sound, there's always been questions that people have said it must have been very easy for you. So I must correct this notion. It might be easy for people to, from backgrounds, financially sound backgrounds, to enter a particular business, but success and leadership is totally dependent on the individual. Nepotism plays an important role. Yes, it gives you the boost to probably crack the first level of entry at any point. But does it make you the man what you are? I really don't think so. You have to work and keep yourself grounded, and that's when you grow. So there are a lot of success stories of people, second generation, third generation, entertainment people, politicians, but it's not necessary that their second generation or the third generation has gained that kind of success. So whatever you achieve, and I still don't call myself successful. I have bigger dreams. I want to achieve them, and it will all happen because of my leadership roles and my ability to take challenges and accept the problem and work for it. So I think it's very, very important that one has to be very open-minded and has to ensure that his challenges of as a leader never ends. That's when he actually truly becomes a leader.
True, sir. Agreed completely. Sir, you're also the president of BRICS Young Leaders Program. Can you please tell us a little bit about this program? What is it entirely about, and what do you deal with in this?
So, as I'm the vice chairman of the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industries, as you all must be aware that more than 1/3 of the population is with BRICS nations, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So the main mission was we have been continuously interacting at an industrial level, where we have been having multiple MOUs with these nations, and this bloc is actually considered to be one of the strongest blocs because of developing economies, and all very strong economies. So as our Honorable Prime Minister kept on emphasizing that we're 65% and the 65% of the youth, we realized there is a huge potential for the youth to actually network in these nations. So the whole idea was to create a platform where youth leadership, global research, and thought leadership can be connected with institutional network, and we can have a global platform where from students and entrepreneurs from these nations could actually come and interact and develop, share their technological knowledge. Knowledge share can take place. Venture capitalists could come in where they could actually invest in the ideas of innovators and startups in India and other nations. So the idea was very, very basic, but now when we realize, when after opening the chapter, that the potential is far more than what we actually thought, and it is a global platform where, uh, personally, I believe that young leaders for tomorrow will be developed and they will be able to lead their nations and the world from this platform.
Wonderful, sir. On that note, I'd also like to tell you that we have the presence of Honorable Chancellor of Lovely Professional University, Sri Ashok Mittal sir, with us. I acknowledge his presence and I welcome him to this session. Moving forward, sir, well, we live in a country where I think almost 60 to 65% of the population comes under the age group of 18 to 35, which generally means that we have 60% of young population with us. But do you think that there is a lack of young leaders in our country, especially when we have such huge number? And what do you think we can do to enhance the leadership amongst the youth in our nation?
So I have to personally talk about two aspects in this. First of all, the political stigma that is there, that politics is dirty, has to change in the minds of the youth. Till the time the educated youth does not enter the politics and be a part of policy making, we cannot sit back over in our house with a cup of tea and keep criticizing it. So it is now the time for the 60% to actively get involved in the policy making, either through bureaucracy or through politics or through NGOs or through other initiatives. We as youth have been taking from the country. We have to change that outlook, that we have to give back to our nation for a better future. This is the generational thought process shift that is required, that we as individuals, whether we are on an X package as an employee or whether we are students, how can we give back to the society in a small manner or a big manner is not the concern, but how can we give back? That's the most important part, to develop the gap that is there as leaders. And once that starts happening, automatically you will see better leaders coming up to reform the nation and taking the nation to a different level.
All right, sir. Well, we talk about leadership, but then I think when you are talking about leadership, you're supposed to have the skills as well. And I think India is a country which can provide a lot of skills to the youth. And we have also come up with campaigns like Skill India. But do you think that there can be other measures that can be taken by the government to ensure that there is more skills amongst the youth?
I think initiatives taken by the government, current government, NDA government led by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, is very, very important, because for the first time in the history of our country, someone has emphasized on the importance of the youth with interaction and platforms that have been created, whether it's Startup India, Make in India, Skill in India, Digital India. All these initiatives, somewhere or the other, empower us. Yeah. What we need to do is need to realize how these policies are getting implemented and how can we benefit out of this. So we need to, what my suggestion has always been to the government, to have a committee or a commission where the youth could actually take this kind of knowledge and implement it and have a balanced approach with guidance from seniors in those committees to grow. And a single window platform for any new organizations where your whether it is forming the company, whether it is buying a land, whether it is manufacturing, whatever line this youngsters want to get into, there should be a single window platform that they just approach one office and most of their paperwork is sorted out. That's key essential for any developing nation. And we are digitally sound to actually do it. It's just the part that now we have to initiate and we have to make sure that this happens. Technology wise, our country has actually grown drastically, and today is one of the examples that we are connecting over technology, and thousands and 500, like millions of people actually view our programs. So this is a beautiful example that yes, we have achieved that. Now we need to enhance it in a manner that actually helps us creating a smoother platform to execute a business venture.
Yeah. All right, sir. Sir, you're the grandson of later Prime Minister of India, Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. I'm pretty sure that you must have seen the kind of leadership, the kind of governance that he has done while you were growing up. Could you please share us what are the skills that you really admired in him, and what are the attributes, or what are the factors that you've taken from him during your upbringing?
So, since my childhood, we all have heard stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata. But for me, there have been a lot of inspirational stories from my grandfather. And my dadi, I was lucky to meet her, and my mother, and all my Tayajis, they all have always told me some way or the other influenced my thought process with the leadership qualities. I'll share one small story. Everybody has heard about him retiring about railway and crossing the river to go to school. But I'll share one more story. We were importing back in the day. We were importing wheat from America, and the quality of the wheat wasn't that great. So India had this agricultural shortage that time. So he thought of a process that if we fast for a day, that was a Monday fast, we shall we shall overcome the shortage that is required if everybody in India follows this. So what he did is he actually implemented this in his house for 3 weeks. He ensured that my father and my Tayaji and everybody don't eat meal on Monday. And when that was successful, that's when he asked the nation to do so. So what the learning lesson is, whatever you want to implement, you have to see and look for yourself and do it yourself before you tell others to do it. So you have to, whatever you want as a leader to be done, it is very important for you. So it was a great learning lesson for me. This story actually inspired me. Yes, today if I ask someone to do some work, I should be able to do it myself as well. If I cannot, then I'm not a true leader.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of stories that from his story of buying a car on loan to there was a story where I'll tell you very again one small anecdote of his life that he was 11 years old. He used to stay with his Mamaji. He had lost his father, Shada Prashadji. And he was going in Mughal Sarai from the market back to his house. There was this man selling mangoes. And what happened is he really wanted to eat. So he told his Mamaji that, please, can I buy some mangoes? He said, why not? And as the farmer was going back, he said, I am ready to give this for 1 rupee. You take the entire basket. There was around 100 mangoes in it. Then his and Mamaji negotiated with him and said, I'll buy everything for 50 paisa. So as the farmer was going for the day, he said, Chalo, let me get rid of whatever stock I had. He agreed. Then Shastriji, when started counting, he took 50 mangoes and said, rest you can take back home. And then Mamaji started getting angry at Shastriji, saying, Bhai, what is this? Why are we are paying him the money for what we have negotiated. He said, but our need is only for 50. We will waste it. At least he can sell that tomorrow and make more money. And he was hell bent and he took only 50 mangoes for 50p and he took it home. And it was a very, very big lesson that whatever you need in life is what you should get. You should not buy, or there is this particular need of materialistic things, but we have to evaluate as youngsters for the betterment of the nation how much we need it. There are a lot many times that you or others may have spent money and resources for things that are not required in our life. And I personally feel we should adopt it as much as we can, that we should come to minimalistic kind of living where we can help the growth of the nation, because it could be that what you leave behind in terms of resources or materialistic thing, it could be a need for someone else. So it is very important to follow that. During the pandemic, if you notice, people started hoarding a lot of food, material, medication, baby food. So it is very unfortunate that the empowered people try to misuse their power by using their money and pressure to ensure their safety and security. That is the mindset which has to be changed. If it was, and the government was working towards it, nothing got stopped. More or less, everybody was able to go through the worst phase of the lockdown, and now we are on the process of unlocking, and more or less nobody faced, except for the migrants. And we are the people who keep criticizing the government. The migrants suffered. The migrants suffered because of us, empowered people who actually hoarded things. If we wouldn't have done that, migrants wouldn't have suffered. So indirectly or directly, everything is related, at which we need to work, and we have to work on the aspect that we should only acquire things that are required in our life for the betterment of the country.
All right, so I think that's a wonderful story. I like to tell you that since the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan was given by Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri, we have then we had Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and Jai Vigyan given by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Then the next slogan, which was given by Sri Narendra Modi, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, and Jai Anusandhan. It was actually revealed in our campus itself during 106th Indian Science Congress that was held at Lovely Professional University.
Right.
So there is a bit of connection with the slogan as well, and we I think truly believe in this ideology of giving more to the people who are in need than to the people who already have, because we all know that with great power comes great responsibility. If you have the power, you need to be responsible as well.
Very true.
Moving forward to the next question that I have for you, is that in today's time, we have seen that leadership plays a very vital role in all the aspects, be it in the political scenario or be it in a company scenario. What are the tips that you'd like to give to the young leaders who are willing to enter into the startup scenario as well? You must be aware about how to govern or how to lead a certain company or an organization. So, what are your giveaways for them?
See, I personally feel this is the right time for every startup to innovate. There's a lot of need that has been created because of pandemic, whether it is through service industry or products. Like initially, we India did not have the required number of PPE kits, but there was a will of manufacturers. Today we have surplus and we are ready to export as well. Similarly, every disaster, every pandemic creates that opportunity, and this is the right time to seize it. I would advise all the youth to actually look into their market environment, those who want to become entrepreneurs, those who want to start up. So, the first and the foremost for any successful business is to realize the need for the product and the market, then work on it. As an organization leader and an institution builder, I would always advise them three things: that honesty is the most important. Secondly, securing funds. Securing funds will only happen once your product and your licenses and your trademarks are correct. So always share your idea after securing yourself, so that no one else can replicate it, because there have been many stories where people have replicated the other person because they did not go through the trademarks and patents. So that is very very important for innovators. And the third and the most important part is to be together. Whenever an organization is made, it is not made by one person. Whether you look at any company, it's never been a single person who's actually made it. It is a team effort. It's very, very important to have a close knit core team for you and your company to grow. So that is my suggestion to the youth, that it is very, very important to have team effort and to work, to be able to work with each other.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'd also like to tell you that we also have the presence of worthy Pro-Chancellor of Lovely Professional University, Madam Rashmi Mittal, here with us. Ma'am, we welcome you to this session, and I hope that you're going to stay here for a little bit long. So for the next question that I have now, I'd like to request all the audience member as well to kindly ask your question in the Facebook comment section as well. We are live from LPU's official Facebook handle. So we'd like to request you to kindly ask your questions there as well, so that you all can also get a chance to interact with Sandeep sir. The first question that we have is from Sandeep. He's asking you, in this time, youth of the nation are not getting employed due to main factors? What do you think should be done for better employment of youth?
Vishnu, you're not audible. Can you repeat the question? Vishnu, you're not audible.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah, now you are.
All right. So the question is that the youth of our nation is not employed much. What are the factors or what are the measures that can be taken to better the employment rate of youth in our country?
So employment has been is a continuous problem with all developing nations, especially India. What we need to do is, as companies and startups, we need to get a little progressive. We need to think about the employment, and what we need to do is our dependence to the digitalization decreases the manpower scenario. So what we need to realize is, as businessmen, as entrepreneurs, that we should have the right balance, and we should not get totally dependent on technology. And for the youth, it is very, very important to be skilled. So earlier, when India was growing, most of our generation and beyond that, they used to talk about becoming doctors, engineers. Now we have specialization in skilled fields, whether it is photography, whether it is your art and culture, whether it is your technology, whether it. So we need to have skilled labor so that there is a right employment generation. So there was a trend in between that a lot of science students were getting into management, and management students going back to flying and trying to do science things. So there's to and fro. As a when you grow, your ambitions change. So it is very important as a student to be focused what you want to do, so that employment is not an issue for you. If you keep oscillating between the thought process that this is also what I want to, this is also what I want to, then there are XYZ thoughts behind it. That is where the problem starts creating. And yes, the government really needs to work on creating better opportunities and better agencies for hiring of unemployed people. That is very, very important. And all business houses, it's a sincere request to all of them always to talk to the Employment Exchange of India and try to hire from them. What we try to do is hire from these HR companies. Why can't we talk to Employment Exchange and take the right data and try to decrease the unemployment rate? So it's very, very important to do that.
True, sir. Sir, you are the president of Confederation of Young Leaders. Can you please tell us what are the efforts that are being made to build the young leaders of India, I mean, of our nation?
So that's a topic that could actually, I can keep speaking about the entire day, but I'll try to sum it up in as many words as possible. So Confederation Young Leaders is a global youth platform which we created a couple of years back, and now we have presence in more than 21 countries, members associated with us from 21 countries. And what we have been we have been doing is creating a platform for those students and entrepreneurs to interact with world leaders, firstly. Secondly, we have been working a lot. We have already collected more than 700 research papers on different policy making of different nations and how they can benefit each other. And we have a very progressive thought about Confederation of Young Leaders, where we uh, are enabling leaders with soft skills training, with their presence. So there are a lot of programs to enable you to make you feel confident, to become confident, and uh, to be able to represent. So we are working on the communication skills. We are working. So there are n number of platforms that we are working under the Confederation of Young Leaders platform. So it can go on, and our forte is actually youth dialogues, which is continuously happening every time. Even in pandemic, we had sessions of around 14, 15 high commissioners and member of parliaments who came and gave their thought to the young leaders, how they can improve and how the society can change, and how beneficial it is and for the youth to get involved in today's time.
All right, sir. Sir, I would also like to know about IIGL. Could you please tell the audience in large what is IIGL all about?
So, Indian Institute of Governance and Policy was an advice given by our honorable minister that time, Suresh Prabhuji, that we should have a platform that works about which works in coordination with the government. So that's how the institute came into existence with the advice of a couple of ministers, sitting ministers, even late Sushma Swaraj had advisors that we need to work on how these policies transmission and how these policies information can be relate to the youth. So this is actually a platform where we have created this wing to support the government policies. So right now there's an initiative that we recently launched under IJL, which is a program for Atmanirbhar Bharat, where self-reliance and how important it is to focus on Make in India. So this is a policy that we are doing, and we are trying to implement and get the industry experts to guide you to become Atmanirbhar and try to support the vision of the government. So
All
this
right.
is one of the examples that IGL is doing, and there are other things that IGL is also doing, which is in creating true leaders. So there's a very difficult selection process that we actually identify the leadership quality, and that's when we induct for the program, and that's how we try to groom. So our goal is in next 10 years we want to create 50,000 leaders who are expert of that field, that is vision now by the government, and in 10 years down the line they could actually lead and be a part of that.
So while we were having this conversation, I realized that you are leading sort of bodies and organizations. You're leading many bodies and organizations for that matter. I wanted to know, how do you manage your time? You have to take care of all the other things, and you have to take care of precision and perfection as well. How do you manage time, and how do you go about it?
See, time management is the utmost important. What you need to do is start making a schedule. But that's a advice that I would like to give to everybody, that you need to have a schedule for your day-to-day routine, a weekly routine and a monthly routine, as much as you can get planned, because if you have a right time management program. So for these days, it's become quite easier for me to actually manage these organizations because it's all through virtual medium. But we have been using virtual medium for most of my programs where I'm not able to make the presence. So I have been taking the benefit of the digital technology, and I have also started what I'm advising is that you should make a daily note of what you do in life, because 10 years down the line you should know that on the following date. So I've been making this diary advised by my elder brother, that I make a note of everything that I do. So past 5 years I've been doing it, and I can actually precisely tell you what I was doing on today's date 5 years back. So things what you have to do is try to improve yourself and organize yourself in a better manner, because there are a lot of things, a lot of goals that you have in your head, and that can only be executed if you plan it in a manner that it can get executed. So you have to think that if there is an assignment that you have to do, and then you have to play a role in a student organization, and then you want to think about a business idea. So you should know how to equate your time and give importance to the current scenario of your life. So if your current scenario, if you're a student, you should give priority to education. Then you should give priority to your work culture and what you want to do in future, and then you should give priority to your hobbies and etc. Because that is also equally important, and then you have to give time to your family and friends. That's very, very important. So you have to create that balance, and there's no perfect solution for this, but the only solution that I can advise is, in a timeline, when you create a timeline, try to work accordingly. Make a simple timeline of your day, that if start from a basic schedule of getting up on time, sleeping on time, improving the skills that you want to. Like, I want to improve my reading skills, I want to improve my communication skills, so I spend daily 25-30 minutes to do that. So these are things you have to identify. You have to do your SWOT analysis. You need to understand what your strengths are, weaknesses are, opportunities are, threats are, and then you have to work, make your schedule according to that. All of this very sounds very bookish, and but what you it actually, if you're able to implement it in your life, it takes you way forward, and you are able to achieve 10 times of what you are doing now. So I can say with experience that yes, it was very important for me to realize my weaknesses and opportunities to be able to grow in life. So that is something that you everyone needs to do, and have a fixed schedule for eating, sleeping, so that you know that these are the X number of hours that I have, that I can achieve.
All right, sir. So, what is that? If you look back in time, what is that one moment where you must have felt that life has thrown you at rock bottom, and you have to now work everything out again to come back to normal and start leading again? What would be that moment where you felt down and challenged and lost?
So these moments have happened a lot of times, unfortunately, with me. I start off with a very small incident that I was planning a business venture, and I thought my family would support me, and they would fund me, and they actually turned around, and my mother, I lost my father when I was two, so my mother is a single parent, and whatever she achieved was through her efforts. So she clearly said that if you want to achieve something, you really need to work for it. So that was like a throwback moment for me. Ki, yeah, my mother is saying no to me. That was something which I did not expect in my life, and then I realized that how important. So I actually joined a job, saved up some money, and that's how I started my entrepreneurial journey. So it was very important. And another story that I have when I had a throwback was just after my 12th, being from a affluent family, and I had this in my mind. Yeah, man, the grandson of the former prime minister, out of 100 crore population, we are just 16 families. I will get admission wherever I want. So had that attitude as a youngster, and that was completely wrong, And my mother, whenever I got around 78% aggregate in my 12th, and my mother told me that I'm sorry, but wherever you want to take admission, you need to work on your own. If you get admission, very good. And that's when I lost again all hopes, that I thought my mother and my family will support me, and I'll go to the best of the DU University, and had that dream to go to SRCC that time. And I realized that it's all shattered. I am nowhere. I don't know what to do in life. But then I got an opportunity with an international university, Western International University, which had a tie-up with Modi Apollo that time back in India. And then I joined there, and then I took my transfer to US. So there are a lot of times in your life that you actually feel disappointed and discouraged. What you really need to do is not lose hope and guide yourself. And it was for a good reason that my family did that, because today I have the strength to say that whatever I have achieved is because of my efforts, but supported from my family.
All right.
Support was emotional, not monetarily, not. So I had to take an education loan. I had to do everything. So that is something which they made me realize that it's very important to live normally, live in a manner where you actually see the struggle and understand that you are not privileged. It is important for you to achieve everything, and then experience what your privileged life is all about.
Absolutely, sir. I think that's where the morals, ethics, and the principles that we can see in your speech as well. The kind of humbleness and humility that you have, it's visible. That you've brought up in a very nice and safe environment. So I think we've spent almost 40 minutes having this discussion about you, your work, and the kind of stuff that you've done over the past few years. What would be the message if you have to sum up your entire speech in few words? What would be the message for all the youth, all the young leaders who are watching us around the world? What would be your message to them? How to lead, how to govern, and how to win the audience?
So my message would be very, very simple and crisp. Hard work, very, very important. Time management, very important. Be open minded, connect, networking. Don't be hesitant. All you'll get is a no. No is not a very difficult word to handle. To achieve success in life, you have to hear the first no and many no's in future. But that should not disappoint you. It is very important for you to keep on the struggle and ensure that you become what you want to become. Thank you.
All right, sir. I think we have the presence of Dr. Saurabh sir here as well. So I'd like to request sir if he could sum up the entire experience in his work as well. Saurabh sir, off to you. All right, I guess he's a little busy right now. But sir, I'd like to request you to kindly give a message to the Spasmodic group as well, the student organization that has conducted this event. If you have any message for them.
Oh, yes. I would love to thank, like to, sorry, I think I disconnected. Am I audible now? I got disconnected, I think.
Yes, sir. Sir, now you're audible.
Yeah. So I would like to thank the Spasmodic organization. You're playing a very, very important role of bridging the gap between network leaders, basically leaders of today with the future leaders. And I would like to thank them for giving me this opportunity to share my views and looking forward for a favorable exchange between our organization with Spasmodic. We would love to work together and try to guide the young leaders of the future. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir. I think that will be a really wonderful opportunity for the Spasmodic group as well. And it was truly an honor for me as well to have this conversation with you. And I'm pretty sure that I have learned a lot of things during the course of this conversation. But before we leave our respective grounds, I'd like to request Nitin sir. He's here. Nitin sir, the head of student organization cell. Nitin sir, if you could sum up the entire experience in your words, please, up to you. Nitin sir.
It's a pleasure to host, sir, especially on the digital platform. So, on behalf of the student organization, Spasmodic, and the whole LPU family, we would like to thank sir for accepting our invitation and guiding all the youngsters with their thoughts so that we all can grow in the same direction for the betterment of our nation. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Nitinji. Thank you so much.
All right, so I think that would sum up the introduction of e-business conclave as well. It was wonderful having with us Mr. Sandeep Shastri. He is truly a remarkable personality, and I'm pretty sure all students who have watched us live must have learned and taken away a lot of advices and suggestions from sir. We indeed are very grateful to have you here and looking forward to host you in our campus as well. Once things get normal, we will be delighted to host you in our campus and would love to meet you physically as well, sir.
Looking forward to meeting you, Vishnu, and the entire team of LPU. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great conclave. Best of luck for your conclave and keep organizing such beautiful events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Bivas, I think we're done.
Yes, bro, we are done with it.
All right, so I think